Watch Symposium, I'm Austin. All right, so viewer question. Corey Sherman writes, I'm interested in your opinion on white gold surrounds. So he's talking about the indices on modern Rolex where you have the Luminova and it's surrounded by a ring of white gold. Those are the white gold surrounds. I know you typically like the 5-digit models which have them, but I also know you prefer a tool watch over the jewelry style Rolex is transitioning to. I think I prefer without the white gold surrounds aesthetically, but the other side of me doesn't like how the lume falls out. I think aesthetically over time it won't look good with missing lume plots or hands. So 5513 matte, Maxi, or 14060. So we're talking dial styles and specifically the white gold surrounds. Aesthetically, which do I prefer? It's tough. I love them both, but as far as the white gold surrounds making the watch look more like a luxury watch over a tool watch, I can see what you're saying, but I never look at this and think this looks like a luxury watch. To me, it still looks like a tool watch. But having said that, certainly the lack of the white gold surrounds, say on a 1675 GMT, is going to make it look more utilitarian. It's going to make it look more like a tool watch. And oftentimes they come on those matte dials, which adds to that vintage look, adds to that tool watch aesthetic. Which do I prefer? Well, before I answer that, let me just say that Tritium, which is what you're going to find on those earlier models, is very odd. It does unpredictable things. It puffs up, it expands, it changes color. And so if you're not ready to accept and embrace that unpredictability, then I think you might want to go with the white gold surrounds because it contains that tritium, and the tritium might still change color, but it's going to maintain that round shape. Whereas sometimes the circular shape of the tritium on those earlier pieces can expand a bit. It can look strange, and that's kind of part of the beauty of them and part of the fascination with them because they are so unique. And so if you're ready to embrace that, then I can see going that route. But one of the reasons I like turn of the millennium watches is because they're so usable, and one of the reasons I love tritium and I think it's great. I love the way it patinas, but RSC, the Rolex Service Center, they don't support it anymore. They don't have the pieces for it. So if you need a replacement piece, it's a hassle. And as you know, I like uniformity. So if the dial is tritium, but then the hands are replaced with Luminova, that just is sort of a pet peeve of mine. It's something I wouldn't want. And so I think if you're going to go with one of those earlier pieces, it's going to affect the usability of it. And you know, those are not pieces you probably want to swim with. I guess you could, but I mean, these are really high-priced pieces, collector's items. They're beautiful, but they're not going to be as usable as this. A YouTuber, I can't remember who it was, once said that oftentimes your pocketbook defines your taste, and I think that's very true. I think that I might be a very different watch collector and buyer if I had more money to work with. Now, I think this is a nice piece because it has all of the aesthetics of, say, the GMT that I look for in the tool watch that I look for, but it's every bit as usable as well. Okay, it doesn't have the blue parachrome spring. I won't say it's every bit as usable, say, as a modern GMT, but in a way it's more usable in other aspects. I've got 120 clicks on this bezel as opposed to 24 on a modern GMT. So look, they both have their advantages and disadvantages, modern and, say, neo-vintage, but the reason I like the neo-vintage is because it's so usable, and if something goes wrong, I can always take it to Rolex and get it fixed. Whereas that's not something that can happen or you can do with those earlier watches. And you know, if the lume does fall out, if the hands do crack and chip, Rolex is going to destroy the value of the watch, and they're going to put modern parts on that vintage piece. Can you source parts? Yeah. Are you going to want to wear that watch the way I wear this watch? Probably not. Are you going to want to swim with that watch? Probably not. I think usability is a factor. If you're just talking aesthetics, then, and again, I bring it back to the pocketbook thing. Would I have those watches? Would I have a 1675 if I had the money to spend on those kind of pieces? Would I have a 16760 Fat Lady Sophie Loren GMT Master 2? Yes, I would have those pieces. I would have those pieces. And so, Corey, I guess I would say that I love both aesthetics. I think the turn of the millennium pieces are the absolute sweet spot. You get that pre-ceramic, you get the white gold surrounds. It's still the tool watch aesthetic. It's usable like a tool watch. You don't have to baby it. It can be repaired. It can be fixed. Everything's good. It's sort of the sweet spot, I think, for me. But there's a beauty and vintage look to those older, lack of white gold surrounds and matte dials that I absolutely love. And if I had the cash, I probably would have many vintage pieces. But they would probably sit in a box, and I'd probably wear them occasionally and sparingly, but I would always come back to something like this. So if you have the money for one of those pieces, go for it. Aesthetically speaking, I think they both have their charms. So I hate to choose one over the other. For me, the defining factor seems to be usability and cost. I mean, these are going to be these 4-digit sports models are going to be pretty pricey, and God help you if you have to replace a part. So, turn of the millennium Rolexes for me. Now he mentions Maxi dial. That's a whole other video, but the Maxi dial that I love is the birth of the Maxi dial, and that's on the 16610 LV, the Kermit, and that is fantastic because that is a true transition piece. And I'm more into not the Maxi dial. I think the plots on the 5 digits are the sweet spot size-wise. It's not so much that I dislike the Maxi dial, but it's that with the Maxi dial comes the Maxi hands, and the way they flare up from the center pen, they flare up here as well, but it is just too abrupt, I think, and so that's something that I don't like. It's one thing that I could get used to, I'm sure, but when it comes to Maxi dials, I really have no use for them except if it's on one of those Kermits, because then it's very special. That's, I mean, you can't have a Kermit without a Maxi dial, right? So I'm willing to forgive it with that very desirable transition piece, but when it comes to the modern pieces, I much prefer something like this. So good luck, and hey, if you have a question, then PayPal $10 to me, and I'll make a video for you. All right, take care, thanks for watching, see you next time.